Yeah. So here we are on the 7th of Iyar, Hayom Yom. First of all, there's a teaching for all you men on the chat here, on the group. When one wraps himself with the talus gadol, the big talus, it is unnecessary to cover one's head and face down to his mouth. And this is indicated in the laws of tzitzis in the Siddur. And it's our custom, the Chabad custom is, however, to cover the eyes with the upper part of the talus. Wrap the talus, cover the eyes. And here's a hurrah for all of us. During the days of Sphira, it is customary to study tractate Sota. I'm assuming you know the law, the situation of a Sota, a person who goes astray and needs a tikkun to come back. 1 page each day in addition to one's regular study sessions. There are 2 reasons for this. The one I just said is it's a Masechta which deals with returning from a place that from afar to come back near to Hashem. And it's also 49 pages, which is 7 times 7, which is the number of days of the 49 days of the Omer. Okay. So here we are learning inside Tanya another approach to, in a sense, coming back or maintaining the connection. We're starting a new chapter 45, which is on page 668. 668. And in Lakuti Amorim, over here, it's near the bottom of page Samach Daled. It's chapter Memhei. A little drush on this. I mean, I'm taking liberty here because there are drushim on the chapter numbers. For instance, chapter Lamed Beis is heart, and others. So I'll take a little liberty here. Memhei is one of the names of the Yud Kei Vav Kei. If you fill the Yud Kei Vav Kei with olives, it's called Milei Aleph. You get 45. And 45 is the numerical value of the name Adam, a human, Aleph Dam. So this is a key teaching for everyone. Ma oid, okay, so the Memhei. Oid yesh derech yosha lifnei ish. There's another way. We spoke about certain levels of love that we need to cultivate and contemplate in order to bring ourselves out of the sense of separation and back to a relationship, a loving relationship with Hashem. So he said, Yesh derech yosher lifnei ish. There's a upright, straight path, straight way in front of every person. Lasik b'teru mitzvahs l'shmon. To do your Torah and mitzvahs. L'shmon means for his sake. So the focus is going to be here in this little piece, in this chapter, not so much on you, but on him. If we focus on him, rather than being enveloped in our own self-pity, or on the other hand, our own desires for spiritual enlightenment, but rather l'shman. There's a pathway to doing Torah and mitzvahs for God's sake. And it's through practicing the midah. Here we are in Sfiras HaOmer, all about Tikkun HaMidos, right? 7 midos times 49, times 7 times 7, 49. So focus on the midah of Yaakov Avinu, Olav HaSholem. Shehu midas harachamim. He is the one who is the archetype for the midah of rachamim. To arouse at the outset of feeling and being in any state of disconnect, arouse in your thought great mercy al Hashem. Great mercy on Hashem. And Hashem, it's not being overburdened with how bad I am, how far I am, how blunt I am, meaning I don't have much sharp, and how dead I am, I don't feel anything. So don't get so preoccupied with yourself. Get preoccupied with him. And have rachamim rabim in front of Hashem on the nitzutz elakus, the spark of godliness, hamachaya nafshay, which is enlivening your soul. not on you yourself and your bad midos and your, and mistakes. Think about your godly soul. Which this godly soul has descended from the life of all lives, who is the Ein Sof Baruch Hu, who is the one, the infinite one, blessed be He. This soul that you have within you, this godly soul, has descended from the internality of God's own life force, Amamali Kol Almin, which fills all worlds, the Soiviv Kol Almin, and encompasses all worlds, Makula Kamei Kale Choshiv, and from that perspective, everything else is like nothing. So think about God, and God at his, sort of inner dimensions, at his levels even before he makes the creation. And it's labish b'mishka dechivya, and how that spark of godliness, which comes filling all worlds and encompassing all worlds, how that spark of God has become enclosed in mishka dechivya, which is the skin of the snake, which is the raw physicality of everything, including our own bodies, the physical substantiality, and is a keli for something totally insubstantial and totally beyond our ken, our recognition, which is godly energy which fills and encompasses all worlds. Think about that. And think about how Rachak Ma'oye Pnei HaMelech, how that spark, this is the godly spark. Again, the focus isn't on you. The focus is on God and godliness. How godliness itself, that spark, is now encompassed down here below in a physical body, which is our bodies. And that's a very great distance, or Pnei HaMelech, from the light of the face of the king. The Tachos HaRichuk, with utter distance. Can't get any farther than this. Well, you can get a little farther than this. The spark of God is in the dirt. But the spark of God in the dirt is not the Nefesh Elokis that's in a human. So we're speaking here about the Nefesh Elokis. And it comes from the inner dimensions of God himself. And it's mislabish in this physical flesh. And think about the great distance. Ki ha'olam hazeh, because this world, utachlis ha'klippas. This world is the utterness, the bottomness, is where all the klippas are. Things get more, we've talked about this in earlier chapters, the Tzimtzum gradually contracts God's light, and the most contracted of God's light is in this world. And as a result of this, as we spoke earlier, or the Alter Rebbe told us earlier, in the darkness is where the klippas begin to sing and dance and have their life force. So this, just pure physicality, is the ultimate in distance from Kedusha, from God himself, from the Ein Sof, from the Ein Sof himself. This whole physical world, which is full of klippas gasus, thick klippas. But befrat, and specifically, it's a general thought. The Ein Sof has been embodied in me and you and everyone on this call, and every Jew and person in the world to some extent. And it's inhabiting down here below. And when a person is in a state of distance, back to our sota in the Gemara, in the Hayom Yom, well, also in the Gemara sota, one is in a place of distance. And you're distancing self from God, and God is distanced from you. With Frat specifically, if you think about all the deeds that you have done, and all the speech which you have spoken, and all the thoughts which you have thought, from the time that you came into being, into life, which think about all those thoughts which have not been good thoughts. So what's going on here is it's like tying up the king, God himself, in tresses of hair. And also, we're going to see in a moment, it's like also the strands of a rope. Strands, tying them up in strands. With thick strands. As it says, Ke Yaakov Hevel Nachalatzah. This pasuk, Yaakov, this word Hevel, we've interpreted it in other places, earlier places in Tanya and in Chassidus, as a rope. It is a rope. But it's two places, one positive and this time negative. Since we have a connection with Hashem, a 613 stranded rope that connects us. We had this earlier. Every time you do something that isn't aligned with Kedusha, you break a strand and the rope gets thinner. And God forbid, you could get to a place that the rope is completely cut and therefore you're separated. So, but here we're looking at the connection. This rope is what connects you to Hashem. And think about the fact that you're interrupting Hashem's continuity by taking strands out. Hashem's continuity is being interrupted. His continual presence in us and our awareness of his continual presence in us is being diminished. And this is like an example of Hamoshik Bechevel, when he draws down a rope, and then the strands get cut. Who said Galus HaShekhinah? And this is the secret of the Galus HaShekhinah. So what's happening is we're here having compassion on God for us doing things which break his ability, interrupt his inability, sever his ability to be, as it were, connected with us. Of course, he's always here, right? But the state of mind and the state of heart is a state of connection, and we're preventing him from doing what he wants and comes naturally, which is to be invested in a revealed way in our heart, body, and soul. Well, Zenemar, and on this it says, Yoshuv el Hashem, return to Hashem, v'rachamehu, and he will have mercy upon us. And the other way of looking at this, his quality of mercy will again be restored to a continuous flow. So the point is to arouse rachamim rabim. This is great mercy, not on ourselves, but on the spark of God, which we have interrupted and created a brokenness so that it doesn't act the way it wants to act. Have mercy on Hashem Havaya. Have mercy on the name Havaya. Hashoichin itonu, which dwells within us. The Kasiv, as is written, Hashechim item b'toich tumasam. God says in Pasuk, I will dwell among you, even in your tuma. He's here. And we've schlepped him into what in other places is called, brought him into a dungeon, brought him into a pit. And God doesn't want to be here, so free him. Let him out. Let that connection be restored through thinking this particular way. This is the particular avoida again. And the whole Tanya is full of avoida. To think this way. Have mercy on God for the fact that we are blocking him. And that's to this, Tanya. Small pieces, these little daily pieces. Okay. Anybody got something to say about this? Rivka.
Surprise.
The translation in Lessons in Tanya of the phrase where it talks about fettered by the tresses, Yisur Rachitim.
Yeah, Rachitim.
Rahiti Moicha is the impetuous thoughts of the brain are what tie Hashem together. Because I don't think we got that one.
No, I didn't translate that one. It's just, you're right.
It's an Aramaic phrase from the Zohar.
Impetuous thoughts. Of the
brain.
Good.
So that's saying that, again, we're back to Moyach Shalat. It's up to
Moyach Shalat Alalev.
Yeah, how we control, how we discipline our minds.
Okay, absolutely. And here the discipline is to focus on what God is, what we're causing God to experience, if you can say such a thing. He's experiencing separation, and we are the ones who can reverse that.
What's the connection between? And thank you, Rivka, for translating, because I was wondering in my head, what exactly does this mean? What's the connection between Yaakov Chevel Nachalaso and Melech Asur Bahatim?
Well, the Chevel is a rope, right? So when you break the strands in the rope, you're breaking the connection. The literal translation of Rechite Mucha is thick strands, but what are they operationally is they're the random thoughts that go on in a person that are not disciplined they're not disciplined to connect with Hashem. And so that's each time you do that, there are 613 strands in this rope. The metaphor is you're cutting off one by one, or clumps at the time. It's also this rachitim is strands of hair, tresses, like in a woman's, like it says I think it also says in Lessons in Tanya, like a woman's hair, you pull it in strand. Women have hairdo. Men don't usually do much with their hair, but you can tie knots in it, and you can create block pathways. And all of those are metaphors for these thick strands, which is the rope. The rope is a 613 stranded piece, a woven rope. And we're talking about a hemp rope, if you go to the shipping docks, you'll see these thick ropes that are literally woven from hemp. And every time you cut them, you're weakening it. So we're taking this pasuk, nachalas. The plain meaning of the pasuk is Yaakov has an inheritance. That's the word inheritance. And the Alter Rebbe, more than once in Tanya, darshans it because it also means rope. So we have a rope, and it's up to us whether we keep that rope whole and strong, which is a metaphor for our connection with him, or whether we weaken it.
So tresses
of hair.
Tresses of hair. Oh.
Long, straightened strands of hair.
That come out of the mocha, I guess, that grow out of the head.
No, it's not brain. Thick. Rechitim mucha. Thick strands.
Oh, mucha means thick?
Yeah, thick strands.
That's
it's Aramaic. Rechitim mucha. Thick strands. Which he translated, as he said in Lessons in Tanya, as these strands, it's like I have a path of thinking, right? It's a pathway, and then clogging it up or breaking it, and the pathway no longer works.
There's another where he says chevel avotot, right? Ahava, like in Hebrew, chevel avot, no? In Tanya?
Chevel what?
Avot, like thick in Hebrew.
I'm not following it, but maybe someone else. Ahava chavot?
Yeah, ahava. He's talking about love, strong love, like a thick rope.
Yeah, that's the other way I said. The other way that it's used, it's a rope. When the rope is whole, it's a connecting. It provides you tie the steamship.
Ahava. Chevlei avotot ahava.
Where's that? Well, where's that from?
Tanya, it's from somewhere in here.
Strong
ropes of love.
Strong. Yes. Okay. If the rope isn't severed, if you're not severing any of the strands, then it's strong. And if you sever the strands, then it's weak.
The way Rabbi Weinberg explains the rope as being connecting you to Hashem.
Yeah.
That there's from your neshama to the essence, the etzem of Hashem, it's like a continuous rope. There's a continuous connection. And what you do down here affects what happens up above and vice versa.
That's it. It's a connecting rope that's meant to have the boat and the dock close together, us and him tied together. But if you cut the strands, if just like a rope has many strands, that's the metaphor. If you cut the strands, you weaken the connection. An important point that's here, the important meaning that's here, different from other places, is it's not putting the focus on us. It's putting the focus on, think about what's happening to Hashem. He wants a active and visible presence in this world, and we're interfering with it. So think about the pain that causes him, and have mercy on that, on him. So it keeps. What I like about this, it keeps you away. Remember, we're starting here talking about you're in some trouble. You're not feeling, the power of Elokus. You may be despondent. You may be in despair. Don't let the focus be on you. Let the focus be on God and bringing God into the world. Adel.
Yes, so it's Rosa. Good morning.
Rosa, why does it say Adel?
Yeah, okay. I know. No, I got to fix it at some point. I don't know. if this connects, but I think some people will identify with it. We want to be seen. As parents, we put out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to be seen.
Seen, yeah.
Yeah.
You're saying the parent is like God who wants to be seen. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, let's say you offer a ride to one of your children and they're not ready and you're waiting for them. You want that to be appreciated, not that they should just not notice that you were just sitting in the car waiting for them while they got their act together to step outside.
They should feel a little bit bad about the fact that they're causing you a delay.
Right.
So here also, you should feel bad, not about yourself, but about, you said, your parent in the car.
Yeah.
God who can't make the connection with you. He wants to connect with you. His whole being, in some respects, is about, I love you, says Hashem. That's a pasuk. I love you, says Hashem. And you're interfering with the love. So,
right.
Yep, good.
So I was just, I don't know, I felt that we want to understand that there is a relationship, and that from our experiences, our tiny experiences as humans, we could understand that Hashem wants Hashem wants a relationship. He put us here for to create a dira b'tachtonim.
Right. So it leads to a very practical, like in a very practical thing. In any situation that you're in, you could have a thought: how can I bring awareness of Hashem into this situation? And that will get you out of your self-pity. When you have compassion on Him, more than compassion on you for that. Your compassion, you would say, oh, I'm so in the dark and I want to be out of the dark. Well, bring Him in and the darkness will fade away. That's all. Okay, anybody else? So, well, I'm sure we'll have plenty of opportunities for this today. Everybody has an opportunity to bring more of a revealed elokus into every situation that you have. If we'll keep our mind on it for today, that will be our mahalach. That will be the way we'll go. Till we meet again.
Amen.
Bye-bye.
Amen. Thank you.